I guess this is some kind of unscripted opinion or thoughts on the Switch 2 announcement. For your context, I am a Nintendo fan for almost 20 years. I don't want to kickstart with bitching about Switch 2 faults or bad things happened. I just want to talk about things from a perspective of a Nintendo fan, a typical Nintendo fan, if you know what I mean. I was a Nintendo fan since I was a kid. Actually, I start from a Game Boy Color, which the broken Game Boy is still here, and the monitor is broken and it doesn't work anymore, unfortunately. And like everybody else, I gradually upgrade or having different Nintendo consoles like the GBA, Nintendo DS, 3DS, Wii, and right here, right now, I have a fucking Switch since the first launch back in 2017. 哇，屌你老味！ I can't actually drive my truck back. Through all the years, I'm always amazed by Nintendo new release. I still remember the old days when 3DS released around 2010, and things is quite amazing at the time because you can have some sort of expectation from a company like Nintendo. Unlike Sony or Xbox, Nintendo always offer new gaming experience. They were pretty good at that shit back in the day. For most of my lifetime, until right here, right now, I'm 30 fucking one. Unfortunately, I spend my time on Nintendo consoles. I mean, I used to have a PSP from Sony, but that's not the point. Just like the iPhone users who only stay close to their own ecosystem and not really willing to switch in between platforms. To be honest, I don't know what I'm going to say is actually defending or shitting on Nintendo this time, because way before the Nintendo Direct release or announced, I used to be so hyped about the new release of the Nintendo because, to be fair, Nintendo Switch is a fucking weak console comparing to the other competitors like Sony or Microsoft. If you're talking about hardware capabilities, you must go for Xbox. And PlayStation isn't that strong anyway, but it looks strong comparing to Nintendo consoles. Where are we at? I was so hyped for the new Nintendo Switch because, to be fair, even though I'm a fan of Nintendo, I truly understand that Nintendo Switch is not a strong console. 8 fucking years I've been stuck with this weak console all the time and just act like an idiot and pretending I'm having fun with the weak console. Don't get me wrong, I actually have fun with certain games. I'm not going to defend Nintendo for their weak hardwares by saying that the gaming experience matters. Who the heck actually care about the hardware capabilities? But no, I'm not that blind, and I can't really convince myself Nintendo Switch, the OG Switch, is an actual good console. There is a joke we talk about through the years. Like, every single fucking platform runs Switch games better than the OG Switch hardware. If you run Switch games on Steam Deck, it's far better. Even though you run it on PC with an emulator, it is still way better than the OG console. I'm not going to deny that Switch actually suck at running their own games. And you know what? Switch 2 release is actually quite huge in my opinion because, wow, we have been hanging in there for 8 years for an upgrade of the OG Switch. Over 15 years ago, I always get myself hands on the new Nintendo consoles since the 3DS. I bought the 3DS at first launch and Switch at first launch as well. Because back in the day, I don't really have the question about it. What am I actually expecting from the Nintendo new release? Things is quite promising with the previous experience. Maybe there is some new console mechanics, a new style to play games, or maybe the first launch games are promising. But this time, after I watched the whole goddamn Nintendo Direct, I am not that kind of a believer anymore, at least not as strong as I used to be. When you search on YouTube, you scroll around Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, you name it, you get the idea. Everyone is roasting the upcoming Switch 2. I mean, we can't really not talk about the pricing of the upcoming release. $450 for the console itself with a bundle almost reaching $500. Personally, I don't really bitch about the pricing of the console itself because this is something new going to be released after 8 years since the OG Switch was out. You get the idea, inflation, everything gets expensive, right? What people really talk about is the game pricing. We are talking about $80 for digital copy of a Mario Kart, $90 for a physical copy. Whoa, the ballers have no mercy. I have to get out of here. Go. Oh, yeah. 哇，屌你老味！ I can't really escape. The very last time I remember people bitching about video games pricing is when the PlayStation 5 release with those expensive games. We are talking about $60 to $70 for a PlayStation 5 game, roughly. Correct me if I remember it wrong. Obviously, I don't really catch up with PlayStation, so I don't know the pricing of PlayStation games is reasonable or not. And after a couple of years, people seems like to accept the truth of inflation. Games are costing $60 to $70. And now, Nintendo is punching us in our face with $90 for a cartridge game. I'm not going to justify the pricing with the following phenomenon or reason. But I strongly believe that one of the reasons of Nintendo being so ballsy to actually increase the price of those games. I don't know if you guys still remember games sharing is one of the features. One copy of game, a several console can share the game. So it doesn't really make sense for the majority because let's think about the following scenario. There is a new Monster Hunter released on Switch. It's so obvious that you and your friends are supposed to have their own copy of games in order to make some progress when offline or not playing together, right? You just can't share the game at the moment you guys hanging out and trying to slay the monster together. No, it doesn't work that way because this game contains RPG mechanics. You have to level up your gear, your weapon, your character, anything, something like that, in order to make progression. So how suppose game sharing benefits that kind of gamers. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, if you are talking about Mario Party, Mario Kart, it's fine because not so much leveling required or personal work you have to do with those games. It's really a plug and play multiplayer games. For those games, it makes sense, but for other different titles, it doesn't. About the pricing, something worth mentioning is the fucking tech demo. Now it's not free with the console anymore. You have to pay $10 to get access to the tech demo. For the tech demo, to be honest, I don't think it is a kind of nonsense to charge you $10. I mean, think about it. Think about it. For anyone who owned or bought the Nintendo Wii before, you guys know that the Wii was with a bundle of Wii Sport and Wii Sport Resort. Not a big fancy game, but actually a copy of game. To show off the capabilities of the Wii console, how to use the motion controller. I don't remember if it was sold separately at the time, but most of you guys who have played Wii Sport or Wii Sport Resort, you are most likely got yourself a copy because of the bundle. Speaking of the 3DS, if any of you have played 3DS before, you know there is some built-in software like the fucking mini AR games and the 3DS mini RPG game. I mean, through the years, Nintendo is quite generous with their tech demo, or at least you can mess around with something that is given. And the real question is, how many of you guys actually mess around with those tech demos and think that is really matter? You don't have a Nintendo, doesn't matter, because you don't really need to be experienced about Nintendo to understand or have an idea of what I am saying. It doesn't really matter. It's just a story and my personal opinion. Allow me to ask a simple question. Would you give a fuck about the tech demo or mini games given with the console? Would you ever give a shit about it? I mean, maybe for maximum, you open up the software once or twice and you just put it aside. Well, I appreciate that in soon. I am a Nintendo fan. I must have bias, right? How suppose a Nintendo fan have no bias on the upcoming release? Let's get back to the fucking $10 tech demo thing. I mean, this is a sign of response. Just simply, Nintendo is fucking sick of or tired of offering free tech demos because they don't receive much appreciation. So it completely makes sense to make it cost $10 because they truly understand that no one actually give a fuck for the tech demo anyway, so let's make it optional. So for some dedicated die-hard Nintendo fan, they will fucking get themselves a demo. I'm not saying that this is a right call or a good change of how Nintendo treat tech demo or marketing strategy. But you can't deny the truth that people don't really give a fuck about tech demos given with the console. 喂，屌你老味，賣 truck fucking 係呀 Okay. Everything under control. No panic, no panic. It's worth mentioning that why there is a fucking tech demo. I don't really remember Xbox or PlayStation actually bundle with some tech demo on their launch before. But most of the time, tech demo is quite Nintendo exclusive. One of the major reasons of Nintendo insists on releasing tech demo is because they oftenly offer new gaming experience or mechanics with their next generation consoles. So it's crucial to show around what is new. But anyway, $10 for the tech demo. Even though I am a Nintendo fan, I'm not buying it because I'm not that kind of consumers that shut up and take my money for every single thing released by Nintendo. I'm not that kind of person. So after talking for the pricing, Nintendo is not affordable anymore. Back in the day when I was a kid, one of the major reasons why I choose Nintendo because comparing to other competitors, Nintendo is quite budget friendly. Back in the day when I was studying, like most of the kids, I don't really have much money. My parents are not filthy fucking rich. So at the time, my pocket money can only afford for Nintendo stuff. Until now, I don't think one of the Nintendo's selling point is affordable gaming anymore. No more affordable gaming. Fuck that shit. Nintendo don't really competing with their rivals directly. The reason is pretty obvious. Nintendo is just a game company. But when you look at Microsoft or Sony, a tech company with experience, they have all the good hardware and stuff. So all they really have to do is put their pieces together and there you go. You have a powerful console. Nintendo don't have such resources for developing hardware. They are not tech company, if you really think about it. They just make video games. Sony and Microsoft have their solid foundation of making powerful stuff. Unlike Nintendo, they have to start from scratch. That's why starting from maybe the early 2000s, I don't really think Nintendo really competing with their rivals directly. When you look at GameCube or Wii, Nintendo 64 versus PlayStation 1. You just mentioned something important. Maybe from your perspective, 64 games looks way uglier and not so appealing comparing to the PlayStation 1. When you think about the game media, PlayStation do have a CD. I mean, not much, a couple hundred megabytes available. So you can store way more texture files in details. But on the other hand, the 64 cartridge, if I remember correctly, 64 megabytes, very small comparing to the PlayStation. Nintendo 64 do offer extra RAM as a add-on hardware. One of the iconic example is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. You need extra RAM to pull this off. Nintendo 64 is not a complete loser if you really think about it. I mean, it depends on scenarios. Like if you are talking about 3D rendering, Nintendo 64 actually did better. But when we talk about texture details, PlayStation 1 wins. I mean, even though we are talking about things way back in the mid-90s, Nintendo was still able to pull off some competition with their hardware. But no, since the 2000s, they start competing anymore. When we talk about hardware capabilities, I can't believe I'm actually gonna say it because I'm a Nintendo fan. Nintendo don't surprise me anymore. Nintendo don't. For you guys who don't know why this phrase is so special, because back in the day, TV commercial is quite a thing. Yeah, those days, people still watching TV commercials. And if I remember correctly, one of the Sega Tificum did mention that Sega did something Nintendo. You get the idea. I don't remember the exact wording. Majorly about the creativity of their new console. I mean, judging from the console name itself, you can't really expect much of a difference. It obviously said this is a fucking Switch 2, an enhanced version of the OG Switch. You won't see any major difference in between these two consoles. Can I engage again? Thank you. It actually said, we care about social features. So we offer optional cameras add-ons for the Nintendo Switch 2. And the built-in mic can capture your voice from a distance, so you guys can do a video chat while you guys are playing games. To be honest, this feature don't appeal me, even though I am a Nintendo fan. No, it doesn't. I mean, this is quite against our existing habits of how we communicate while playing games. Unlike the early 2000s, we don't really gathering around McDonald's or fast food chain to play NDS or PSP together in person. No, we don't. We already move on to playing video games at home with friends. We either communicate on phone or just simply turn on your Discord voice channel. So real question, who the fuck actually bother with the built-in features given by Nintendo to communicate? It doesn't look appealing to me or having any uniqueness that, I must switch from Discord to the built-in Nintendo communication service. And despite of little social feature, Nintendo do emphasize that you can use your Joy-Con as a mouse. I mean, really, what the fuck? My first impression of hearing this, now is the time to test the durability in between my fucking desk and the controller itself. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. How suppose the fucking Joy-Con act as a mouse and doing alright? To be honest, I don't really expect Nintendo actually offering new features for the Switch 2. And one of the minor feature I don't think everyone is talking about, because let's take The Legend of Zelda as an example. Mobile app for the Nintendo is more interactive with the console. Like in Legend of Zelda, for your context, if you guys don't know, collecting Korok seed all over the Hyrule is quite exhausting because you don't know where to go. And the fucking app offers navigation, like a GPS or something. Bloody hell. But who needs that anyway? There are existing guidelines on the internet already. Next day we'll say it will run Photoshop. Bloody hell. It really makes me hesitate of should I get myself the Nintendo Switch at the first launch. Nintendo don't really surprise me when it comes to their first launch lineup. Comparing to the OG release, those launch titles are relatively weak when we talk about first-party games. I still remember the old days, 8 years ago, when the OG Switch released. At least we have Mario Kart, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I don't give a shit much about Mario Kart because, you know, Mario Kart 8 was released way back on the Wii U. So this is not a new game at all. We did have Breath of the Wild, which is quite groundbreaking when you think about it. Unlike the Skyward Sword from the Wii or Twilight Princess, it's an actual open world game. You can just walk around collecting stuff. And in my opinion, Breath of the Wild was quite beautiful, even though we are talking about with OG Switch hardware. But right here, right now, all we have at the first launch is just Mario Kart. And they don't even call that Mario Kart 9. They call it Mario Kart World. And Nintendo really placed their bet, pushing up the antes all the way on just Mario Kart. One little fun fact about me as a Nintendo fan, I'm not really interested in the in-house mascot like Mario. You get the idea. I am not a Mario guy. Mario Kart don't really impress me or makes me feel exciting about the upcoming first launch. Okay. Maybe you will say, it ain't true. Donkey Kong, Metroid Prime 4, or even Kirby Air Riders is coming in the following year. My question is, this is something we are talking about in the future, not really accessible for the first launch. When you look at their first launch lineup, most of them are third-party games. Wow, that's not good. Okay, we wait a little bit. We're talking about Harry Potter, Cyberpunk. I mean, seriously, those games have been around a long time ago. For those dedicated gamers, they already experienced those games before on other platforms with better experience already. One of the advantage of Nintendo is they have their in-house mascot like Mario, Princess Peach, Luigi, you name it. They are only available on Nintendo platform. Nintendo is telling me that no, at our first launch, you only have Mario Kart. What the fuck is going on? I mean, even for Zelda games, they only have, what is it called? Hyrule Warriors. It's like the prequel of Breath of the Wild or Tears of Kingdom. I mean, come on. If you hit such a great success with Breath of the Wild and Tears of Kingdom, why don't you make another sequel of Tears of Kingdom? Many of gamers out there will have a good time with Mario Kart. I'm not questioning it, but for me personally, I'm not really hyped with just Mario Kart. I mean, I'm not looking for a huge quantity of in-house first-party Nintendo games, but at least give me something huge or give me something that I can look forward to. And let's talk about something Nintendo. Nintendo upset me with their new game media format. One of their big changes of how they handle their games is they offer something called key card cartridge. What the fuck? What exactly is the fucking key card? It's a license or a key to allow you to access to their video games. For example, if you bought a physical copy of a Switch2 game with the keycard, what it really means is you need to plug in the fucking keycard to allow you to download the actual game through the internet, which means the cartridge itself contains nothing and only the activation key inside. What the fuck? In my opinion, this is way worse than just a download code kept inside the box. Way worse. One of the major reasons why I stick close to Nintendo platform is how they handle their game media. When it comes to cartridge, most likely you think of Nintendo because if I remember correctly, only Nintendo nowadays put their games on cartridge instead of Blu-ray disc. I mean, cartridge is kind of a good thing. There are some limitation of storage, but at least when you think about it, right here, right now, I buy the cartridge, and we are talking about a decade or 2 decades later, I can still take out my cartridge and put it on the console and enjoy the video game. Those discs are so delicate that you have to really take good care of it. And even so, it does wear off through times, which is not cool. But unlike cartridge just lasts longer and way more durable comparing to disc format. I love to collect games. Personally, really against download games in digital format. Ownership of things matters. Back in the day, when you buy a fucking game, you don't really think about ownership or varying ownership that much because you pay your fucking money, you get yourself a copy of games, and for the rest of your life, that copy of the game is yours. You can play whenever you want, wherever you want, as you please. But no, Nintendo is now being like, no, fuck you, you don't own your fucking games unless you download it from our server. I mean, the ownership thing really changed, like from you own stuff by paying money to you only have access to our product even though you pay for it. Having access to it and owning the stuff is completely 2 different concepts. I understand that not the rest of the Switch release is in the format of key card. I just want to make a point that even though I am a Nintendo fan, I am not going to buy any game only available with that fucking key card because I have no ownership of things. The reason I really bitch about ownership so much is because I'm not just thinking about present, I'm thinking about future. I buy a game with only key card available, which means years later when I turn on my fucking Switch console and just remember that because I didn't back up the fucking download content from Nintendo, so all I will be able to do is just staring off the box of my game and not being able to play it because maybe 20 years later the Nintendo server is down and not available anymore. So what do I do with the fucking key card? With no games? No, fuck keycard. I'm not going to buy any new release only available with keycard. Let's talk about what Nintendo do. Wow, there is a cooling system built in that fucking dock. Better performance or stability I can expect from the new console. Hoi. Engage again, we can move on. Even though I want to elaborate some more with the good adjustment of the Switch 2, but not much. Not much. 喂，屌你老味 my fucking truck. Why my fucking truck is so fragile? Can I run OG Switch game faster on Switch 2? As you can see, I am a speedrunner, even though I'm not really that fast. And especially for this fucking game, GTA Definitive Edition, on the worst platform possible, Nintendo Switch, which doesn't run really well. And there is a lot of downtime around the loading screen. It's an obvious time loss. Is Switch 2 actually benefits my run? or helping me achieve a better result. It comes to a point that I want to talk about the backward compatibility with the OG Switch games. Back in the day, you don't really worry about backward compatibility when it comes to Nintendo, because GBA can run Game Boy Color games because they have Game Boy Color's hardware, native hardware, so you don't really worry about it. It's just plug and play, easy. Same things apply to Wii with the GameCube games, 3DS with the NDS game. You get the idea. Every new generation of console have predecessors hardware. Something is really concerning because those developers just said there is no OG Switch hardware in the new Switch. They will come up with something in between hardware and software emulation in order to run OG Switch games on the new console. I mean, at least for me personally, I still have not a lot, but still amount of OG Switch games. I can foresee myself I have to be stick with my OG Switch games for a while, how they handle those enhancements. At least for big titles like Breath of the Wild or Tears of Kingdom, you need to pay for extra $10 or something. With the patch, you can run the game at 60 FPS and with better graphics. That's it. $10. I paid my goddamn money for both copies of Legend of Zelda Tears of Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. And you're still telling me that, you need fucking extra dollars be able to make your game run better on the new console. Why? If I don't have the copy of Tears of Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, it makes sense to charge me money for it, right? But no. I have the bloody game. Nintendo is still asking me for $10. Don't get me wrong, even though I talk shit about the Switch 2 so much, I'm still believe that I will get myself a Switch 2 at the first launch. Even though I will get myself a Switch 2, but it's not necessarily mean that I will buy the Mario Kart bundle, because first thing first, I'm not really a fan of Mario Kart. I don't know if it really surprised you, because I'm a Nintendo fan and I'm not really taking in Mario Kart. They only offer the download code for the fucking Mario Kart instead of a physical copy of the game. I don't see a point of getting myself that bundle with Mario Kart. I have experienced the era of Satoru Iwata, the former chairperson. In Iwata's era, he always pushed their creativity to another level in order to make better console and video games. He always offered the best. And look at the chairperson of Nintendo nowadays. They are more like a businessman. I understand that as a company, you have to keep making profit, but you have to do it in the right way. I mean, if they have the time of releasing new amiibos or some other shitty port of video games, why can't they come up with their own? With something new. As a Nintendo fan, I'm not saying that say goodbye to Nintendo, I don't love Nintendo anymore. I don't think I can love Nintendo like it used to be anymore. Why?